What's going on, guys? I'm John.
I'm David.
And welcome to Movie Kings.
Episode 003.
003. Where today we will be reviewing Ad Astra, the brand new Brad Pitt in space movie.
Yep, just dropped this week, and we got to take a quick look at it. And overall...
I really liked it. What did you think?
I kind of felt like... I liked it. I did, but I did kind of feel like I was watching a 2-hour cologne commercial. It was like super like deep in thought. And just kind of interesting. And for the record, I'm known for spoiling movies on this show, so if you haven't seen it yet and I say something that ruins it, I apologize in advance.
Yes, so probably go see the movie first before you watch or listen to the podcast.
Or don't, just listen to us talk about it and decide if you want to see it.
Well, then, you would know what all is going to happen.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'll try not to ruin anything.
Okay. Well, before we get too deep, I will say go ahead and subscribe to our channel if you're watching us. Just hit the button below, and if you're listening, we're on social media. We're on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook. Our handle is at JD Movie Kings. And before we get too into it, let's kind of give like a little synopsis about the movie, I guess.
So movie directed by James Gray, written by James Gray and Ethan Gross, and stars Brad Pitt and Tommy Lee Jones, which is I haven't seen Tommy Lee Jones in something in a while.
Yeah,
it's kind of a pop up. And basically, it's about a movie about Brad Pitt's character who's trying to get back. Let me backstep a bit. His dad launched on a mission about 30 years prior. They lost him. They didn't know where he came from, but they think they may have found him, and something was going on, and so they had to go out there and get him. And Brad Pitt's character is basically on that journey to go to Neptune and get his dad.
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds crazy, right? So, but
it's a movie. It's allowed to be crazy.
It's a movie. So this is kind of like future. It's not really present, but it's kind of like maybe a futuristic version of what space travel could be.
Mm-hmm.
There's, it's almost kind of like you're flying like airliners right now. You just kind of show up and you get on your spaceship and you go to the moon, and there's moon bases, and there's actually like colonies on the moon from different countries. They'll touch on that as well. You kind of have a little bit of a conflict going on there. And then they also have bases on Mars, and that's how he has to go through these steps to get to finally getting on the ship that goes to Neptune.
And that was one thing that I really liked about it, was that it didn't have like a specific date, like time when it's supposed to be taking place. It's just in the near future.
Correct.
Where it's not like it's in 2030, and then like you watch the movie 10 years from now, and it's like, oh no, well no, this is dumb. but like also like all the things that they do in it, it's like I could see that happening.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is it was very believable.
Yeah,
because we've seen today with like SpaceX and all the stuff that they're doing, they're actually launching rockets and landing them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like, oh wow, you're actually kind of seeing some of that tech in this movie. So you kind of think, maybe this is a very not like, flashy, gaudy sci-fi version of what space travel could actually be like.
Yeah.
There's nothing you watch and go, that's a little bit ridiculous. It's all real practical technology that we're kind of using now.
Yeah.
So it's interesting.
If you had the option to take a commercial flight to space, like to the moon, would you do it?
I probably would. And I growing up as a kid, I loved space. I had my space books. I used to love the planet stuff, and I always wanted to be an astronaut. It's funny though now, like as I've gotten older, I have such I watched that. Like I even watched this movie, and I had a little bit of anxiety at times.
Me the whole time,
because they're just like in these compartments, right? And they're small, and you can't leave this compartment because it's the vacuum of space. And so there's a little bit of anxiety there.
Mm-hmm.
And in my mind, thinking like, what if that was me floating around, and like especially when he gets so far out. He gets so far out into space, you're like, dude, you're not like, okay, I don't want to play anymore, I'm just going to go back.
Yeah. Like,
if you're on Earth and you don't want to do something anymore, you just go home.
Right.
But he's stuck there.
They're
stuck in this tin can, and it's just kind of like, it kind of gives you a little bit of anxiety. So I would suck it up. I'd find a way. I'd take something for it, and I would just go do it, because I know that would be an awesome experience.
There were so many claustrophobic moments for me in that movie. Like in the first 5 minutes of the movie, like, here's a spoiler for you, but he's working on something in like this kind of space station. Like it's It's not really. It's like kind of in between space and kind of in
Right.
between like
It's
the atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a super tall antenna.
Yeah, and so he's working on it, and something happens, and he falls, and he just starts falling and falling and falling. And the whole time I was watching, I was like,
Yeah, I was totally caught up in that moment where I feel like I can relate. Like, what is he feeling? Like, you are falling, but you're not falling from like, you know, an airplane. You're falling from like near the uppermost atmosphere. You can't go any higher than this because otherwise you'd be floating.
yeah,
And so he's falling up through this height and he's just tumbling down. And if you know, it's just like, oh my gosh, you know, that does kind of give it made the palms of my hand feel a little sweaty.
Did
Like,
it?
oh man.
It reminded me greatly of a time I had to edit some GoPro footage one time, and somebody had jumped into the water and they dropped their GoPro like on the monopod, and you just like the video just goes like you just see water and you see like the surface up ahead, and it's like you're slowly sinking bit by bit. And I'm editing this, I'm like, so that was very similar to that.
Yeah, I can understand that for sure. But that was what's nice about this movie is you had all these little moments where it really got you a little anxious.
Yeah.
Which is hard to do nowadays. A lot of times in movies you kind of can anticipate what's going to happen.
Yeah.
You don't really get too emotionally or physically like feeling involved. So there was a lot of moments where we were just kind of like, ooh, what, you know, ugh.
And it all looked real too. Like it didn't look fakey really.
The visuals in this movie were outstanding.
Yeah.
It was just so well done. I think space is kind of almost like easy art in a way because it's like it's already we all know space is beautiful. It's kind of like taking pictures of flowers if you're a photographer. It's kind of easy, but at the same time, even that you can screw that up.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So they really did a good job. I loved the fact that you know, in space you have no sound.
Mm-hmm.
You can't hear anything. So if you shot a real movie in space, it'd be really boring because you wouldn't hear nothing. But at the same time, they kind of did that. They were using the music of the movie to make the sound. So you had this music, which I think also kind of helped play it. You're like, you know, you're kind of getting anxious because the music kind of does that to you.
Mm-hmm.
The sounds you're hearing is not actually the sounds of what's going on. It's actually just the scroll.
Right.
And I thought that was really clever because it still sounds like you're in space. It's kind of muted, you know, but you get the music playing and it keeps everything moving along.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really well done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. We have a dog in the room, so he's running around for those of you at home.
We have Bogey the Husky.
Yes, Bogey the Husky.
He's a good dog.
Follow him on Instagram at Bogey the Husky.
Bogey the Husky on Instagram. If you
Bogie.
Yep. If you want cute pictures of a Siberian Husky from the time he was a little pup to now, that's a great place to go follow him.
He's adorable.
He is, but he can't sit still right now.
Oh no,
he was locked up while we were watching this movie, so he's like kind of like pacing, wanting to play.
Yeah. He's still he's only about a year and a half, so he's still got a lot of puppy in him.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No.
I don't know. There was times in the movie where I felt like maybe it did slow down too much.
Really?
Yeah, I thought maybe towards the end there was a lot of really slow filler scenes where I felt like maybe they could do something different to move it along. What do you think about that?
I thought I thought it was actually pretty well paced because it reminded me of like it's kind of crazy. Like it's always crazy for me when a major studio puts out a movie like this because it's like more of a slow character driven narrative, and you just don't see that often anymore. And what it made me think of was like almost 10 years ago there was this George Clooney movie called The American. I don't know if you remember that. Did you ever see it?
No.
It's like the trailer made it look like this intense thriller and he's this action spy, and then the movie is actually this really slow narrative, and it wasn't a bad movie, but it was very, 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 very slow, and there's not a whole lot of plot in it. It's very much like a character driven, like you have to see what all he's thinking about, and that this movie is I thought it was a much better movie than that. Because there was more plot to it, and there's more mystery to kind of focus on, and there's more going on. It's like it is a very like character driven story, but there's a mystery to it, and there's like you want to know what's happening.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, like because of that, because there's always something going on. I like it didn't really slow down for me.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, like, cause it wasn't so slow that I was like, oh, this is brutal, like, get me through it. But I did feel like at some points it was kind of like, okay, it's slowing down a little bit here and there. But all in all, I agree with you. It was the story of this guy. You know, there's a big backstory between him and his father. Didn't have much of a relationship, and now he's disappeared. But now you have an opportunity. It's kind of an interesting feels moment, you know, where it's like you think your parent is gone, and you never really had a relationship with them, but now you have the opportunity to maybe find them and rekindle that relationship.
Right.
So that kind of brings up the question: how far would you go to rekindle your relationship with one of your parents who you didn't really have one with and you thought they were gone? Apparently for Brad Pitt, it's all the way to Neptune. So
if I didn't really know the parent, I don't think I would go that far.
I mean, I feel like he knew just enough to be like, I really wish I'd known more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because he was around and then he kind of was gone.
I'd just go to like Ancestry.com and like type in that stuff. I don't think I'd go to Neptune.
Yeah, it's a little bit too far into space for me, because if I had a limit of which I would stop, it probably would be the moon, maybe Mars.
Like the moon's as far as I'll go.
Because look, I want to get back, right?
Yeah.
Like because Earth is where I belong. You know, this is fun. This is like Disney World. You can only spend so much time here before you really need to go home.
Right.
Because after a while, it's like my body's shutting down.
What do you think they had on the moon? Because they had like this hub of activity, like they had a spaceport, and they had like an Applebee's there, and like all these restaurants. But like once you're there, what is there to do? Because I mean, like there's nobody really hopping around outside. I would imagine that's pretty governmental out there.
Yeah, I feel like most of all, it would really just be strictly government business. But you had these marauder pirate guys chilling out there, and I'm like, what do they want? And apparently, there's mining going on in this moon, in this world, and I'm like, okay, what are they mining on the moon?
I felt like that was a little unnecessary, but
the pirate scene.
Yeah, but
I was gonna talk about that.
I guess it kind of makes a little bit of sense in the fact of like showing where the government and the NASA program is, you know, like in the future.
I get the whole, it shows kind of where everybody's at, and this is kind of not the safest place on Earth, or I mean on Moon. Ooh. It's so used to saying the safest place on Earth. Now it's the safest place on the moon.
The moon, yeah.
It's not what you would probably thought. They went there, and he even mentions it like, oh, they came here and they just built the same crap they were trying to get away from, which is basically like an extension of what we have here. There's subways, there's corporate, businesses, and blah blah blah, pirates, mining.
Right.
But I did not. I liked that scene, but I also didn't like that scene.
Yeah, it didn't really flow very well.
I was almost like they were like, we need some action to keep this movie going, so let's throw this scene in here.
I thought the same thing.
But at the same time, it's like the practicality of what was going on. You're like, this is dumb.
Yeah.
Because it's like, cool, we have mastered space travel. We have dudes floating around near Neptune. And yet here we have a high dollar person on a very classified and important mission, which is the life and death of the planet, and you're transporting him through hostile territory in an open buggy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, that's
why
true.
not fly him
about
over there, or better yet, use an enclosed vehicle with some armor protection? Like, I was like, what the heck? I was like, no kidding, everybody got like obliterated. Like, it's just, to me, I thought that whole scene, to me, I'm sitting there like, apparently we learned space travel, but we have not learned from our history of warfare. Like, we forgot about Iraq, we forgot about IEDs and having up armored vehicles. It's like we went backwards but went forwards at the same time. Sorry, I'm a Marine if people don't know this. Military, when you're in the military, and a lot of veterans who may watch this podcast will relate to this, it ruins war movies for us. So when I watch a movie that is not 100% accurate, like if they have Marines in it, I can always pick out what's wrong with the uniform. Like, that's not right, this isn't. So that kind of ruins. And plus also military vehicles, tactics, and the way they do things, it ruins it completely. So we're like, that's not how it's done, and that's not how it ever would be done.
Yeah.
So when I watch that, I'm like, I know that the government knows better than to do something stupid like that. Because especially if this dude is literally the only thing that's going to save the planet.
Yeah.
Like, really? Open vehicles on the moon?
Yeah.
Fly him over to the other side of the moon. How hard can that be?
Yeah. If there are pirates running around, you don't want him.
Why is there pilots on the moon?
That is, yeah.
I mean, you're the U.S. government. It's the moon. How do they even?
Yeah, how do they get there?
Like, did you just say, you can get here? That's fine.
And like, there's nothing else there. I mean, like it seems like you could easily find them and take them out.
Yeah, this moon is not very big.
Yeah.
It's pretty small. It's much smaller than Earth.
Yeah, in comparison.
And there's not a whole lot there, so if there's something moving around on it, I feel like they could pick it up.
Which that was another thing that made me claustrophobic was when Brad Pitt drove into the darkness of the moon. I was like, ugh.
See, I thought that was cool.
It was cool, but at the same time, I was like, don't go down there.
That's funny because those scenes like that are not the ones that make me claustrophobic.
Yeah?
The ones that did it to me a little bit were just where they're floating in that spaceship, super closed up, and knowing like they can't get out of that spaceship. That's kind of freaks me out a little bit. That's the only thing that freaks me out about that stuff.
One more thing about the pirates, and I just saw I glanced at a story a couple days ago that said that the director of this movie wanted to make like the most scientifically founded movie about space.
Sure.
And I'm like, I don't know anything about space, but I remember a few years ago Neil deGrasse Tyson went off on the movie Gravity because it wasn't scientifically accurate, and I was wondering about this movie, like shooting guns off in space. Like
Sure.
for one thing, does that work? And for two, when later in the movie somebody pulls a gun on Brad Pitt in a spaceship, and I'm thinking like that guy knows better than that. Like you're not gonna like you wouldn't do that in a plane, much less a spaceship. That's like the dumbest thing you can do.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same thing. I actually don't know how a traditional firearm would work in space because traditionally a firearm uses, an explosion of gunpowder to push the projectile, but there's no oxygen in space.
Yeah.
So could the explosion work? I don't think it would.
Yeah.
So I don't think they would ever fire. Mm-hmm. But they weren't using traditional guns. They were using laser guns, weren't they? Weren't they shooting like blue lasers out of them?
I don't recall. I don't know.
You'd have to have some sort of like projectile with some sort of, encapsulated explosion with some sort, that's not exposed to the outside space. But yeah, you can tell that he wanted to shoot something that was accurate.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't like your typical science fiction movie. Like, this is like very believable, something that we might be doing in the near future. And it's interesting too because it touches on one big issue for us in terms of space travel, which is one, time. Mm-hmm. It takes forever to get where you need to go.
Right.
And two, your sanity.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, okay, it's one thing to orbit the Earth and go to the moon and come back, but if you're out in Neptune, you're out in space for a long time. And there's studies now done because they had a guy living out in space for a while. It has a serious negative effect on you. Like you are not supposed to be out there for a long time. And so I don't know if it even ever would be possible for us to go to Neptune.
I think that's really the major theme of the movie is about like how bad it is for you to shut off your emotions and what a negative effect it has on you.
Yeah, because even the main character was this really calm, monotone guy. Like he had to be.
Right.
Because it's the only way he could ever get to go where he has to go.
Right. But by the end, I think he's like well before then really I think he knew that it was not good, but it was what he had to do. But by the end.
Yeah, he knew it because it was affecting his relationships with his wife, who is
Liv Tyler.
Liv Tyler, thank you.
Who is not in the movie enough.
What's up with Liv Tyler getting like these basic B-list roles in some of these? I don't know.
Well, that's what happens when women reach a certain age, like in movies, they just they don't get too many offers anymore, and that's.
Are you being sexist right now, John?
No, I'm just that's the truth, and it's a bummer, and it's like we saw a preview for a Mark Ruffalo movie like earlier, and it has Anne Hathaway in it. And she's doing like the same thing. It's like she's like the wife at home who's like, "Don't do this." It's like playing that stereotypical part.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate because Anne Hathaway is a really talented actress.
Yeah.
I really think she.
So is Liv Tyler.
Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. She could be doing a lot more. Is it them and their age, or is it just their agent?
No. I mean, it's just part of Hollywood fact. Is what once there's really not a lot of good parts for women in general, but once they reach a certain age, the parts start going down. So
sure.
it's kind of like there's a large gap between being like 35 and being like in your 50s of like not having a lot of parts, and then like maybe you can start getting more work once you're old.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense actually because you see prominent female actresses tend to be much older.
Right.
And then Anne Hathaway was really big when she was super young.
Right.
So okay, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
If you didn't know that, you learned something today.
There you go, guys.
And you know, it's just, I guess it's just the way the world turns on that one.
Yeah,
It's just, you know, there's more roles for men in different various positions and things of that nature.
Yeah,
So
it's, you know.
if you don't like it, then oh well.
Nothing we can do about it, but
Sorry,
you know.
we don't make the rules; we just follow them.
Yeah.
But overall, it was a very good movie, very well done. And the ending was good. It ended, I thought, very well too.
Yeah.
Which was kind of like, although I kind of wanted to wonder, and I'm not going to try to spoil anything, but you know,
We've already spoiled so much.
Yeah, not too much. I feel like we've given you just enough where it doesn't ruin the movie for you. But
let's ruin it for him. Come on.
I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that guy. There's a situation towards there when he gets on Mars and he's going to Neptune, where he does something very bad.
Mm-hmm.
But it seems like at the end of the movie he doesn't have to answer for it. And I wonder, and my only theory on this is that the space program just was like, look, let's just sweep it under the rug. Everything's safe. We're all happy again. And we'll let him go because he could probably blow this up in our face.
Well, after all, he does kind of save the day in the end, so...
All sins are forgiven.
Yeah.
All's well that ends well.
But at the same time, he did disobey an order, but at the same time, like, he didn't do a bad thing. Like he was kind of attacked upon, and
True.
Yeah, so
This is very true.
It's not like he strangled someone with his bare hands. The movie, it kind of reminded me. It kind of had a Apocalypse Now vibe. I thought a little bit too.
Did it?
Yeah. Have you seen it?
Why do you keep asking me if I've seen these prominent movies? Am I making the fans?
No,
there was an anniversary of Apocalypse Now that just dropped. What was it, like last month?
Yeah.
And I so badly wanted to go see it because I've only seen little bits and pieces, and I'm like, I just want to go watch this movie. But it's one of those things where I just don't think about it. Mm-hmm. So I am dying to see this movie.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you haven't seen it since it's military related.
I watch a lot of military. Well, that's what I'm saying though. Like even today, I don't watch as many military movies. I don't go out of my way now as I used to.
Yeah.
Before the Marine Corps, I would watch military. Like for instance, Black Hawk Down.
Uh-huh.
Black Hawk Down is a fantastic movie.
You know, I've never seen that movie.
How have you not seen that movie? See, guys, we're back and forth. Black Hawk Down is such a good movie that I don't like watching it anymore.
Really?
Yeah, because Black Hawk Down really captures what happened in the Mogadishu during that time period for those Army Rangers, and it's so frustrating from a military perspective because what you see as a person out in town or you're watching this movie, you're like, wow, this is like literally a movie where the entire movie is a battle scene and it's just nothing but action. It's so awesome, and you probably can say it's sad because these guys are dying, but what I see is like, okay, it's a true story. This is very accurate of how it went down. And what I see is just guys who died for no reason, not because the war was bad. I'm not talking about that. It's not political, but it is political because what happened was guys died because they didn't want to give them the support that they needed to do their job because they wanted to be low key. They didn't want people all around the world seeing what was happening here, so they couldn't have the support they needed. And what ended up happening was bad decisions, bad tactics, and they got innocent guys killed who didn't have to die. These guys didn't have to die. Like they could have done this so much differently, and it's very frustrating for me to watch now. And it's so interesting. Like before, like I said, I love that movie, and I'd probably watch it all the time. Now I can't even finish it sometimes because I'm just like, you know what? It's just frustrating to me because it's a true story, and I'm watching guys who got killed, and they didn't have to die. Yeah, they could have done that so much differently. And but that's why it's a good movie. They showed it for what really happened.
It was, yeah.
And so, but you need to see it.
Yeah,
everybody needs to see it because it's a good movie. It shows what these guys went through. It's based on a book too. The main character wrote a book about it, and he's in fact Kate actually met him.
Oh really?
Yeah, and she said he's a really nice guy. And I was like, yeah, he seems like a nice guy. I never met him, but
I believe we started to watch that, and then I fell asleep because at the time I was working morning shifts. And just kept talking out.
You're right, we did. I had you and Kate, and you both fell asleep on me.
Yeah, sorry.
And I was like, well, I'm not watching this by myself, so I shut it off.
I'll watch it now. I don't work mornings anymore, so.
Yeah, okay, well, there you go. Well, maybe we'll watch it and do a review on that.
Yeah, we could.
Even though I just kind of did a short one now. I'm all about... I do like a good war movie. I mean, there's some exciting ones that are coming down the pipeline. We saw...
Yeah, there's like 3 of them coming out.
I don't know what it is about Hollywood, but it's like they all seem to all be on the same wavelength. Like if one studio does a war movie, like they all do a war movie. And if it's about World War II, then they're all about World War II or something. You know, it just seems like everybody kind of is like, hey, 20th Century Fox, they're doing a war movie about World War II. You got a war movie for me? And the writers over there like, no. And he's like, well, you better have one on my desk by the end of the week. And next thing you know, like then you have like Warner Brothers over there. It's like, we don't have a war movie. We need a war movie. And then before you know it, like all your summer blockbuster movies are like war movies. It's all Dunkirks.
That is far more accurate than you even know. They here's an interesting bit of Hollywood history for you. So you know the movie Popeye with Robin Williams?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how that movie got made?
No, how did that movie get made?
So you're familiar with the movie Annie with the
Yep.
you know. So it was already a hit Broadway musical. It was like in 1977, 78 when the musical came out. So it was based on this comic from the 30s. And so I think MGM made it. Well, Paramount, I think it was Paramount. They like they hear that it's in development, and so they say, hey, like we need to buy the rights to some comic book and make a musical out of this. And so they're like, well, what can we get? Popeye. Let's do Popeye.
That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. So now you have that's the reason that you have Popeye the musical movie, which has good things in it, but ooh those songs, oof. And here, like in the songs, what's so bizarre is that they're by Harry Nilsson, who's such a great songwriter, but those songs are so terrible.
You know, it's funny you bring music up, and I didn't touch on this on the last episode when we were talking about Mad Max, but music to me can really make a movie great.
Yeah.
And I think music is almost one of the most important things, aside from good writing.
Yeah.
I think you have good writing, good music, and good acting. Because I think if you have good writing and good music, it almost can save a bad actor.
Right.
And so,
like Star Wars.
Star Wars. Yeah.
Great music, just amazing acting. Attack of the Clones.
Wait a minute. Which Star Wars are we talking about?
We're talking about Attack of the Clones.
You don't like Attack?
About the prequels, you know.
You know what's interesting about the Attack of the Clones?
Yeah.
Since we just touched on that, I would love to see a whole series of the Clone Wars.
Well, they made the cartoon series about the Clone Wars.
Not those. I'm sorry. I know
those are good though.
I know, but I don't like them. I was like, it's too cartoony. I want serious, guys. Star Wars is serious to me. It's dark. It's
the shows are pretty. They do take themselves pretty seriously. They I agree though. I don't really like the way the animation looks though.
That's why I didn't like it. The way they did it, the animation was a huge turn off to me. So I couldn't get into the show simply because of that. I would watch it. I started watching an episode and I'm just like, I can't get past how this looks.
Yeah,
I hate it. Because I don't know. I don't know. I'm not going to get into other than just I think that when you have that kind of animation, it kind of makes it less real for me and less enjoyable.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So, but yeah, the score I think on this one was good. Like I said earlier, they were very clever in the way they tied in the music to the sound effects, and it just kind of made it all. And it also really brought the mood and set the scene for you. It really kind of boosted, like if you're feeling anxious, the music kind of played on that. Really brought that out of you. Like, oh my god, you know. And the pirate scene, that was really well done with that music. So
yeah, I agree.
Even though that scene was
kind of dumb.
It was dumb.
So dumb, so dumb, so dumb,
so stupid. How do we get an action scene in here that doesn't make any damn sense? Well, let's just do this.
Pirates.
Everybody likes pirates.
They made 5 pirates movies.
Should have stopped at 3.
They should have stopped at 1.
Debatable.
Yeah, it's debatable.
Okay, the second one was kind of like I like the first and the third one.
I agree. Yeah. The third was too long, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah, and I thought the visuals were great. I love the scene where they were fighting on the ship as it's basically circling there.
Yeah.
I did think the giant what's her name was kind of weird though.
Yeah.
I was like,
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. But whatever. But I do like the Pirates series. I actually stopped watching after 3. When the 4th one dropped, I thought, no, we don't need that anymore.
No, you don't.
We're good.
Well, for me, I loved the first one so much because I was like 12 when it came out, and I saw it so many times. So it was one of those things where it was like they keep making them. I'll keep going to see them. And the 4th one I saw, it's not a terrible movie, but it's not very good. The 5th one that came out a couple years ago, is unwatchable. It is terrible, and it's basically Johnny Depp. I think was just drunk on set the whole time. He slurs all of his words. It doesn't make a lick of sense. It's just a terrible movie.
Well, he plays a drunk pirate too, so it kind of works in his favor that he was an alcoholic at the time.
He does.
He still is. Is he still an alcoholic?
I'm sure he is, but
dude, his wife totally screwed him over.
That's a very debatable thing. I've heard some stuff about him being kind of an on-set diva a lot of times. So
well, he's total diva. Come on.
Yeah.
The guy wears mascara on a normal day.
Yeah.
You're probably a little bit of a diva.
Yeah, I think he kind of went. There's too much to get into there.
We're here, John.
We're here. Yeah, I don't know enough information about it to really debate about it.
Jeez, fine, whatever. Gosh,
Sorry.
we're trying to get in. I try to pry and get John to talk about these things, and he just doesn't want to do it.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I like to be friends with everyone. I don't like to argue about things.
I know you really, hopefully, probably secretly want Johnny Depp to interview on our show. You don't want him to see this episode.
I would absolutely love Johnny Depp to. So if you're watching,
listen, I don't have a problem with him.
If you know Johnny Depp,
I said she screwed you, man. All right, I don't know the whole story either. I'm taking your side because you did an episode of Overhauling, and you took her car, her daddy's car that she inherited that was a piece of junk and had shit foos renovate it. And that's a really nice thing to do for a woman. Then she ran off on you.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Nobody will unless you watch Show Overhauling.
I have what is that? I have no idea.
It's a show Overhauling. It went off the air. It's coming back, and it's a show where they take people like who have classic cars or something and a good backstory, like they were a nice person, they had hard times or something. And then they Chip Foose is a huge hot rod builder and a big fan of his. He basically does the design, they rebuild it. But the whole time the person doesn't know it. Like usually they play a prank, like they steal the car or something. And it's a good show. If you love cars, you'll love that show. But if you love cars, you know about that show, and you don't need me to explain it to you.
Recommendation there.
There you go. Any other thoughts on that movie?
Let me think. I didn't really know a whole lot going in. Did you?
I had no idea. That's the one thing I will say. The trailer didn't show you very much. You thought it did, but then when you watch the movie, you realize, wow, those trailers really didn't. And they're like you said, you think it's something, and then you go see it, and it's something completely different. Yeah. When I like that, though.
Yeah, I absolutely love that, yeah.
There's nothing more that I hate, especially they do this a lot with comedies now, where it's like you see the trailer and you go, I bet that's every funny scene in that movie.
And a lot of times it is.
Yep. It's like, it's frustrating. Like, why do you do that?
Because those are the only funny parts and they need something to market it with.
You know, the guys that are making that were like, oh, man. They're sitting in that studio editing and they're like, oh, this movie's really terrible. We're showing all the funny stuff. But who cares? Because people are going to spend money and they won't know the difference.
Oh, there is one more thing I did want to talk about is Donald Sutherland. Because he's not in the movie a lot.
No.
But you know, he does a great job while he's there. But he looks like garbage in this movie. He looks so bad.
I don't know if they did that on purpose or if he really looks that crappy.
I think
so did Tommy Lee Jones.
I think Tommy Lee Jones. I think they just kind of make up him like they kind of put hair on him and made him look older. But you know, like what's his name? Donald Sutherland is like, I think he's like 80 years old now. So I think he's just kind of getting.
He was old when they did Space Cowboys or whatever it was with Tommy Lee Jones.
I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, they were all. That's the funny thing. As soon as I saw him, I was like, "Is this like a spoof off of that?" But they were ancient in that movie, and here they still are. But also too, Tommy Lee Jones has always kind of looked old.
Yeah.
He's always kind of had like an older look, and I like him as an actor. I really do. He does very well, but he only really. He's very unique. All his roles are serious. Even in comedies, he's a serious guy. Well,
except for I did think, like, for some reason the first place my mind goes to when I think of Tommy Lee Jones is, do you remember that awful movie Man of the House where he has to he's a security guard for cheerleaders?
No.
Oh, if you don't know this movie, look up the trailer and see how terrible this is. It's like 2005. And for some,
that's a bad time for everybody.
It's a bad time for movies, but yeah, for some reason, Tommy Lee Jones made a movie called Man of the House, and he plays a security guard, and he has to someone is stalking these cheerleaders for this football team, And
That happens all the time, I'm sure.
yeah, I'm sure. But for some reason, they hired Tommy Lee Jones to like stay in the house and watch after them. And I just remember there's a scene that stuck with me from the trailer, and they're on the field, and one of the girls tells them, "Show us your happy face." And Tommy Lee Jones says, "This is my happy face."
I do remember.
You do?
That
Yeah,
now.
I knew you would.
This is my happy face.
How terrible is that?
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why, but whenever I think of Tommy Lee Jones, I think, this is my happy face.
The only movie he's ever done where he's actually like not serious is The Coal Miner's Daughter. That's the only thing I can think of.
I can see that.
Because he's not super serious in there, and he cracks jokes, and he's kind of laughing-go-lucky. He's also a redhead, which is creepy.
Is he? I don't remember.
He's a ginger in that movie.
I don't remember that.
I'm pretty sure he's a ginger. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, look it up. I need to see this.
Because I'm almost positive.
Now you got me wondering if there are other Tommy Lee Jones comedies.
Well, you got Men in Black, but even
he's great in that.
Yeah, he is. But again, he's still serious in that movie. Yeah, he plays a real serious agent.
Yeah, he's a straight guy.
But he still makes funny quirks. But he's still serious. Like I don't think he can be. He's not Adam Sandler, man.
Oh no! No, you do not need that.
Adam Sandler, he could have been in this movie.
He could have been. He could have played the Brad Pitt part.
Yeah, he could have.
He could have. Yeah.
All right, I'm pulling up pictures and all. I'm getting. Yeah, there he is, right there. Look, he's a ginger.
Oh, I don't remember that at all.
And if you're redheaded, don't be offended. My family's all Irish, so you're all redheads too. It's all good. I'm blonde hair, blue. I'm the only one I'm the milkman's son.
I don't care. Screw all you redheads.
You daywalkers.
Mm-hmm.
Jeez.
We don't want the Irish.
Hey, those are my people.
I'm kidding. No, nobody tweet at us. Nobody send us death threats.
Go ahead. I don't care. Just send them to him. I love the Irish. Their food is good, and they like to drink, and they're scrappy.
Is their food good though?
I love Irish food.
What do you think of when you think of Irish food? Because the first thing I think of is like shepherd's pie, and that's just like
there's good shepherd's pie and bad shepherd's pie.
I've only had bad shepherd's pie.
Okay, well I like sauerkraut and sausages and all that stuff. That might not necessarily be Irish though. So for me, my mom's Irish and Polish, so we had a lot of Polish food.
Yeah.
So we were eating like pierogies and things like that. I love pierogies. You ever had a pierogi?
I don't think I have had a pierogi.
You and Kate, I'm gonna make you guys some homemade pierogies.
I'd try a pierogi. Yeah,
it's kind of like a ravioli,
but
it's stuffed with potato and cheese. There's some that have like potato and onion, or potato and sauerkraut. And what you traditionally do is you boil it, and then you serve it with like tons of butter.
Oh, I like butter.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm certainly down for that.
Okay, I'll make it one day.
Just keep the shepherd's pie away from me.
I like shepherd's pie. It's done right. I like it. Whatever. Fish and chips. I love a good fish and chips.
Fish and chips are good, yes.
But I think that's more English.
Yeah.
But still, I love fish and chips. I like pub food. I think that's what it comes down to. I don't think it really matters, where it comes from. I just like pub food.
Yeah, pub food's good.
Yeah. Give me a Guinness and some pub food.
And a burger, fish and chips, any of that crap.
Now I'm hungry. And I just ate popcorn.
Yeah. I did not because it makes me sick.
Yeah.
It's very sad.
It's worth it.
It depends. It would really mess me up.
Yeah. I understand where you're coming from on that. So, all in all, I'll eat popcorn even if it makes me sick, because it does. It messes my stomach up, but I will always eat it. I don't care.
Yeah. It's
worth it. Every except it's not worth $15 AMC. Good grief, man. I know what the cost is of soda and popcorn. Soda, that fountain drink.
So cheap.
The fountain drink is probably a penny for that.
Yeah.
And that popcorn is probably not much higher than that.
No, the popcorn's probably less than the drink.
Yeah, I mean it's corn.
I mean, like you can buy like a jar of popcorn kernels for like $3.
Yeah, they get it by the sack.
Yeah, just think about how much popcorn like one of those things of kernels makes.
That is, that's where they make their money, and boy, are they making it.
Yeah.
Holy crap. Think about it. If you're a family of, let's say it's just you. Let's say you have a kid. It's like you, your wife, and your kid, and you guys go out to the movie. You're going to spend $80 on tickets, right? Maybe not 80 because the kids are a little cheaper. So you'll probably spend like $50 on tickets, and then you'll easily spend probably another $60 plus on food.
Right.
I mean, heck, man, that's a business to be in.
That's why my family used to go to the dollar movie all the time.
Can't beat the dollar movie.
Yep.
I think that's where we went and saw Mad Max for the first time.
It was, yeah.
It was. That was
At
good.
the Spanish dollar movie.
The Spanish dollar. We were probably the only white guys in that theater. It was hilarious. And the Spanish these guys had no quarrel bringing their kids to that movie either.
No,
it was so bizarre to me. I'm like,
very violent.
Do you know what you just brought your kid? Yeah, we don't care. It's good for them. Teach them real life. Teach them life is violent.
You know, I like there were like 3 trailers today for some war movies, and I'm really happy that there are World War I movies coming out, because
so much.
There's never been any World War I movies.
You know, they say that there's a lot of people that say World War I is the forgotten war, and I have to agree with it, because you don't ever see anything about it.
Right.
Like nobody, like World War II is like the one that gets all the play by play. It gets all the attention.
And I get it, because there's so much more story there, and it
Sure.
makes more sense in a grand scheme. But you know,
I mean, the World War I was really a war that didn't have to happen. I
No,
don't think,
not at
but
all.
it did, and maybe that's another reason why. But it is. It's so. I am super excited, especially this one. It looks like the way they shot it visually. It just seems like it's going to be a really good movie that does justice for that time period.
Mm-hmm.
I think, truthfully, you don't see a whole lot of movies in that time period anyway.
no, you really don't.
I mean, the only thing, Great Gatsby comes to mind.
Right. Which that was after World War I.
That would be true. That's the Roaring 20s.
Yeah.
So that's after World War I. But that's my point. Like 1900 to 1920 to 30, you don't see, maybe I'm wrong about that, but lately, especially lately, you don't see a lot.
No,
Road to
man.
Perdition is something that comes to my mind. That's a good
That's
one.
a great movie.
God, I love that movie. Tom Hanks, man.
Paul
Tom
Newman.
Hanks. Let me tell you something. He is. What do you think about him being Mr. Rogers?
I'm looking forward to seeing. I was like every time I see that preview, I'm like about to cry, like just watching the trailer.
Makes you a little sad, doesn't
Yeah.
it? Like,
And it's like Tom Hanks's impersonation of Mr. Rogers like isn't completely on par. Like it doesn't completely sound like Mr. Rogers, but it's like it's enough. Like it's good enough.
I think if not him, who else would play that role? I can't think of somebody who'd be better.
Morgan Freeman.
I'm Morgan Freeman, and this is an alternate universe of Mr.
I'm
Rogers.
Mr. Rogers.
And I'm
Welcome
gonna.
to my neighborhood.
Will you be my neighbor? Andy Dufresne. He was my best friend. Who was your best friend?
I just think I think Tom Hanks is a little too fat looking for Mr. Rogers.
I think Tom Hanks maybe 10 years ago would have played it better because he was a little skinnier then.
Yeah, but he wasn't old enough then.
They could have made him look older.
Really, he's not old enough now to play the part.
Well, this is true. I think the problem with that role is it's such a fresh character that we all grew up with Mr. Rogers. I didn't really watch it much as a kid. I know Kate yells like, "Oh, you didn't watch? You didn't watch?" I was like, "No, I just didn't get into it. I didn't care for it too much. I'm sorry. I was too busy watching Backdraft, with my dad when I was in kindergarten. I'm sorry. I was exposed to Die Hard instead of
Nothing wrong with
Sesame
that,
Street. Actually, I love the Muppets though, so I'll talk Muppets all day. But I mean, that's such a fresh character. Like that guy's he's relatively new, so it's gonna be hard to really fully find somebody who captures that well enough, because we all know who Mr. Rogers is. We know what he looks like. We know his personality and how he acted. So you're going to be hard pressed to be perfect on that.
Right. But
45 years from now, 50 years, where it's been so long gone, and maybe that show's not even showing anymore. That generation of people are probably like, oh yeah, Tom Hanks plays a great
yeah.
So. I'm excited. I'm gonna go see it. I'm ready for it.
I definitely
I'm ready
am,
to
yeah.
talk about it for sure. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too.
And we'll talk about watching rated R movies when you're 8 years old. My mom was so mad. My dad took me. I remember my dad took me to see Backdraft when it aired in theaters. Have you seen Backdraft?
I've never seen it before.
I have, but I don't remember any of it. And
We need to watch it and do it
should.
for the show. Yeah.
Yeah, but I remember, like, my mom to this day will tell you she was so mad. And my dad was like, what? I didn't know it was a movie about firefighters. I had no idea what, there was going to be, all that stuff in there. She's like, it was rated R. It was all downhill for me.
I remember, like my parents were a little more protective about what I would watch. And when I was, like, 11 or 12, I rented Airplane. And I
love Airplane.
Oh, it's so good. But I I didn't know anything about it. I just heard like this is supposed to be a funny movie, and so I'm so glad that I watched it with my dad instead of with my mom, because there's one quick boob flash in that movie, and there are other things in that movie too where like I remember seeing it and being like, this seems like an adult joke. I don't quite understand this yet, but like there's something going on here that I don't quite get. But I like the boob flash. I remember being like, whoa.
I think my dad. It's funny you bring that up because like
Uh-huh.
my mom. I think my mom and my dad just kind of gave up on censoring me from stuff like this.
Fair enough.
I don't, because when I think back to my childhood, I see flashes of like where they let me watch something that I probably shouldn't have watched, and then there's things where like they got upset. I can remember a time I was watching Mystery Science Theater on TV,
Uh-huh.
and I guess they said like "what the hell" or I don't know, because they didn't cuss. It was on that TV, so there wasn't
Yeah.
cussing, like serious cussing. They may have said like "damn" or "hell" or something.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
And I remember my dad like losing it, and he like we had a little entertainment center for the tube TV, and he like closed the doors. He goes, "Turn that off. You're not watching that anymore."
Really?
And I'm like, "Dad, there's nothing wrong. It's just a funny show." I was like trying to defend it, and he goes, "No, you're not watching that." I said no, and I'm thinking, I don't get it. I was like, I of all the crap I've seen, like even Star Wars is probably worse than Mystery Science Theater.
Yeah.
The only crime is I'm watching a crappy movie and three guys making fun of it. But I mean, that's whatever.
Maybe he didn't want you to watch a crappy movie.
Yeah, maybe he was trying to save me from that.
It could be.
I love Mystery Science Theater.
So I've been binge watching Mystery Science Theater for like 2 weeks.
And I'm gonna drop something. You showed me this app called Pluto.
Pluto TV.
Pluto TV is freaking awesome because it's on there. They have their own channels, and now they have another channel where it's these same guys that did Mystery Science Theater, and they're just basically watching these movies and kind of podcasting over it in a way.
It's riff tracks.
Yeah, riff tracks, and it's so funny. Like it's even funnier than their old stuff.
Yeah.
And I just love it. I was like, the only reason why I would have Pluto TV is for that.
Yeah, it's amazing.
And it's free. I mean, there's ads, but you can get. I don't care. I've been watching TV with ads for my whole life.
Yeah,
and I pay for that crap.
And it's less ads too, I think.
Certainly is less ads than like traditional television, which is good.
Yeah.
And that may change, but I doubt it. So Bogey here really wants my attention. So give it to
He's
you.
a good boy.
Calm down, dog. Calm down. But yeah, I was just not sheltered. I should have been. You know?
Well, I think you need a certain amount of sheltering, and then you need a certain amount of.
Look, I don't think I had enough already.
Yeah.
At all.
I think I had too much, and you didn't have enough.
This is interesting. That's so funny you bring it up because we are two extreme opposites when it comes to that. You were very much, and I was not at all. And I think if you could balance that, it would have been much better off.
Yeah, I remember when I was like 16, I got a laptop for Christmas, and it was like Netflix instant streaming had just come out, so I was like, I get to watch R-rated movies now, and nobody will know about it.
And meanwhile, I'm like, when I was 16, I'd already been watching all kinds of R-rated movies since I was probably in elementary
Like 4.
school. Yeah. And it's like nobody stopped me from watching that crap.
Well, going back to Airplane, like that movie was rated PG, which is kind of funny.
How did that get PG rated?
Movies back then, like from the 70s into like until the early 80s, like if they were fairly kid friendly, they would get PG ratings. Like there's all kinds of boobs and cussing in several PG rated movies, but it really wasn't until the Temple of Doom that the PG-13 rating came out.
Temple of Doom was definitely PG-13.
Yeah, it was it was PG, and it was kind of what led to people saying, we might want to make another rating. It was that and Gremlins were both PG.
Gremlins got the nod for they thought it should be 13.
Well, there's a scene, if you remember, Gremlin gets put in the microwave and microwaved to death. And it is very splattery.
Oh, you don't normally do that? You don't just shove your gremlin in the microwave and see what happens?
Probably not a good thing for like a 7-year-old to see, but
yeah, they'll learn eventually.
For a movie marketed to a 7-year-old.
You know what, kid? You gotta grow up eventually. 7 years old, you need to learn about what happens when you put something living in a microwave.
Well, there's that, and there's also the movie, the bizarre movie, the bizarre scene in that movie where Phoebe Cates is like tells. Bogey's licking my foot right now.
Sorry, I'm trying to do it without people knowing.
No.
Get out of here, dog.
There's that bizarre scene in Gremlins where Phoebe Cates tells a story about her dad, like coming down the chimney dressed as Santa Claus and getting locked in there and dying in the. Do you remember this?
No, I mean I haven't seen Gremlins in ages. I don't remember anything about that movie.
Yeah, she's like, yeah, the reason I don't like Christmas is because when I was 8 years old, my dad dressed up as Santa Claus and came down the chimney and he was going to surprise us, and we didn't know where he went. And then like after a few days, the chimney started to smell. And we looked up there, and he had starved to death and had died. And he had fallen into the chimney and like broken his neck, and he like they didn't know about it. And she's like, and that's how I found out that Santa Claus wasn't real.
You know, the person who thought of that, you know, they probably were in deep thought thinking, what would happen like if someone really tried to go down the chimney?
Yeah, but it's like that's not, you don't put that in a kids movie.
Yeah, that's true. I don't think Gremlins is a kids movie though. Really, I thought maybe it would. I don't know. I guess it could have been. You know, like The Labyrinth to me is not really a kids movie because it's so weird.
Yeah, that's a pretty
David
dark
Bowie's
one.
bald should just made it an R-rated movie to begin with.
I feel like
so uncomfortable.
I feel like that's more of a kids movie than The Dark Crystal is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't seen The Dark Crystal, so I don't know.
Oh, okay.
But Gremlins to me, I don't know. And even like Airplane, I didn't know there was like the only version of Airplane I saw was the TV edited version.
We'll watch the real version. You can see the boobs this time.
Yeah, but I'd watched it a million times because it was always on Comedy Central when I was a kid,
yeah.
so I would watch it all the time there, and I absolutely loved it.
It's
Just
so
that,
good.
that's just that type of humor that you don't see anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Like that humor, no comedy is like that.
No, well, nobody else knows how to do it well.
This is true. Very like even the Naked Gun.
It was the same guys who made
Right,
that. Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that type of humor.
Mhm.
You don't see it.
Yeah.
It's almost dead.
Yeah, well, I think what happened with that was filmmakers who tried to replicate it, they focused too much on parodying other movies instead of just focusing on the jokes, and it just doesn't work when you do that.
Yeah, I think that kind of reminds me of like Adam Sandler movies.
Uh-huh.
Adam Sandler pretty much makes the same movie today as he did, 15 years ago in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people were like so turned off by that.
Uh-huh.
But for me, like I love Adam Sandler movies because
Uh-huh.
I grew up on those.
Yeah.
And so when I know what I'm getting into.
Right.
Like, this isn't Oscar-winning material.
Right.
This is just like I know I'm gonna laugh, and it's gonna be the same band of ragtag guys, and
Right.
but that's what I like. And I think if the guys that did The Naked Gun and Airplane, if they came back today, they probably would hit kind of a wall of people who are like, this isn't funny to me because it's just a different type of humor.
Yeah, it could be.
Comedies today are like real kind of raunchy, flashy in your face, kind of ridiculous.
Well, really, there aren't a lot of comedies anymore,
This is true.
which is a shame.
And the ones that try to be funny aren't funny at all.
Yeah. Oh gosh.
I think of what's a recent comedy you can think of? Like,
Stuber.
I never saw Stuber.
It was it had Kumail Nanjiani and what's his name, Dave Bautista in it, and it was like an Uber drive that went wrong.
Oh gosh.
It was
Is it like the same guys that did the guy? What's his nuts goes to White Castle?
No, it's different.
Oh, okay.
But
That's another really bad movie. Harold and Kumar, they go to White Castle or something like that.
I actually like that movie.
It's the first time I watched it, I was like, oh yeah, and then I watched it again. I'm like, this does not hold up. This is bad. This is just a terrible movie.
It's not great, but it is what it is.
It's just that period, kind of like I think that came around right at the same time as like American Pie and all that stuff too.
Yeah, it was
That-
2004.
Those kind of teen or college humor movies.
Very
the,
2000s.
the lampoons. Those were funny. I like the American Pie movies; they're good. But that was like that. It is funny how like that kind of humor and those type of movies really did have like their own period, and they're gone.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see it anymore.
Which really isn't a bad thing.
No, I think they kind of started getting out of hand. It was like borderline pornography after a while. Like there was really no plot. The actors were all like B-list. Nobody heard of them. They can't act, and it's just boobs, all the time.
I wonder if they still make those American Pie like sequels, like the direct-to-video things, because they made like 1 million of those things.
I think they stopped. I think they
Did
got
they finally
the point.
stop?
Yeah, because I think people finally were like, "Look, I'm just gonna go on like YouPorn instead of watching these."
Yeah, you don't
it's
need those
basically the
anymore.
same thing.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I watching this crap for? Because you could get if you were a teenage kid and you wanted to hide something from your mom, and you couldn't get on the internet or you couldn't own your own stash. That was the movies you'd watch. That's true because your mom just thought it was a regular movie, but it wasn't. It was not a regular movie.
That's what I remember. David Spade had a bit one time where he was saying, like back in the day, USA Network would show those like '80s sex comedies, and he was like, But they're pointless on USA because they censor everything. So it's like
Animal House. You can't watch Animal House on cable TV. It's like it's not even a movie. It's just bits of scenes.
Well, at least there's like substance to Animal House, whereas like those like just an '80s sex comedy, like there's nothing to that. Like if you're to censor out the boobs, like if you're to censor Animal House, like there's good comedy bits to it.
Oh sure, absolutely. But there's also swearing and everything else that just gets cut out. By the time you're pretty much like a butchered movie.
Oh, absolutely. You should not watch that on TV.
No, if you're gonna watch Animal House, watch it with your father-in-law and your brother-in-law.
Like we did.
Super awkward watching that movie with my father.
Was it really?
Yeah, I was like, there's too many titties coming out of here. And y'all don't know, but my father-in-law, he's a good Christian man. This man is a God-fearing man that goes to church. So I'm sitting here watching it. He's laughing though, so I'm like, okay, we're okay. There's a lot of boobs.
You're just outing my dad right now.
I am. I hope he hears this because I'm like super like, oh my god. It's be like to me, it would be like the equivalent of watching it with my pastor. That's what it kind of felt like.
Yeah.
Because and so I was like, I like this movie's funny. I'm laughing, but at the same time, I'm like looking over at him like, don't react to the boob scene. Just pretend like it's not happening. This is me.
That's what my friend Dusty said when I told him that my dad and I had watched Deadpool together, and
I love Deadpool.
Yeah, and he was like, you watched that with your dad? I couldn't imagine watching that with my dad. I was like, yeah.
You know, my dad, I could totally watch Animal House and Deadpool with not thinking about it because this is my dad, and my dad, like I said, my dad took me to Backdraft. It's who my dad is, but yeah, Deadpool wouldn't be awkward with your dad because your dad, I feel like probably liked that movie as much as you did.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Deadpool is just funny.
It's such a great movie.
I mean,
that's
okay. That's not a comedy. That's not a comedy.
Yeah,
but it is like that is such a Deadpool 2 too. Oh my gosh,
Deadpool 2 is good too. Yeah,
I mean I haven't laughed that hard at a movie in a long time.
I'd say Deadpool 1 might be my favorite comedy of the last 5 years.
Yeah, I mean that or 2. I mean they both rival each other. But yeah, I mean when I have to sit back and think about it, like that's probably it.
Yeah.
You know, I haven't seen anything else comedy-wise that would stand up to that. I haven't laughed that hard in so long.
The last 10 years, I would say my favorite is Tropic Thunder.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
So
I don't know, though, because I think I laughed harder at Deadpool than Tropic Thunder.
You know what? That or Step Brothers.
Okay. Let me tell you something. Step Brothers, when it first came out, yes. Step Brothers now, no. Because we've quoted it a million times, and it's been shown a million times.
Fair enough.
And I'm so freaking tired of seeing this movie. I'm just like, I turn off. I turn it.
It is on quite a bit.
This is gold. But it's overplayed.
It's been ruined.
Yeah, you played too much. But hey, the other guys.
Yeah,
you know what? Now that we're talking about it, we are thinking about some comedies that have come out in the last decade that are good. Other Guys was fantastic. Mark Wahlberg and Will Ferrell are the best duo.
Yeah.
I think it's even better than what's his name? I always forget his name.
John C. Reilly?
Yeah, I almost think it's a better combination than John C. Reilly.
Well, you didn't like Holmes and Watson?
I didn't see it. I heard such bad things. I just bothered not to watch it. I think that because John C. Reilly's funny. He's a goober. He's just a goofy guy. But Mark Wahlberg is serious, right? He's mocking Mark. Hey, how guys going? How you guys doing?
You guys doing good?
All right. And so when you had like him paired up with somebody that's just as ridiculous as Will Ferrell, it's just I don't know. It's just such a perfect combination.
It really works well. Yeah.
I love that movie. But again, I still don't think I laughed as hard at that as I did Deadpool. I think Deadpool by far steals the show from all. Another movie I saw. It's a Netflix movie that I probably I want. I'm glad it's on Netflix. It's an Adam Sandler movie. And let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Adam Sandler, Netflix movie.
Adam Sandler, Netflix movie.
And so, yeah, here we go. It's called The Meyerowitz Stories. Okay. And it gets a 93% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And I'm going to say this. This movie was really weird to me because it starts off really, really good. Dustin Hoffman just knocks it out of the park.
No.
You know, always so good. And, you know, it's got Ben Stiller in it, and that was really good. But towards the end, though, to me, it just seemed like it was almost like they had a beginning and a middle, but they didn't have an end. And so they were just kind of like, we need to wrap this thing up. So here we go. We just kind of penciled something in because it just ends in such a weird way.
Really? I haven't seen it yet. So
I recommend everybody seeing that one. It's a good one. but you may agree with me that the ending is just kind of strikingly odd. But I may watch it again and see maybe if I missed something and the reason why it ended that way. But overall, it's not your typical Adam Sandler movie. Mm-hmm. It's not. I don't know if it's. I guess it's a comedy, but it's not a comedy. It's kind of like almost like real life. It's kind of like dark comedy in a way. So, yeah, it's a good one. Check that one out if you haven't seen it yet. That's on Netflix.
I wanted to watch that. I just haven't. I haven't gotten around to seeing it yet. So that's high recommendation.
High recommendation. There's that's a good Netflix movie to catch if you haven't caught it yet. I like that. I think we should bring up some good Netflix movies because Netflix is producing a crap ton of content.
Yeah, well, this fall they're gonna release the Scorsese movie, his latest movie. It's Kill the Irishman, which or just the Irishman. So it's something like that, but it's got Pesci and De Niro and Pacino in it. And like Pesci came out of retirement to do this movie. And
I came out of retirement.
Yeah, but yeah, it's supposed.
I also need money.
I'm okay with that. It's supposed to be really good. But yeah, we should do that when it comes out.
I would love to. That should be really fun. I like Netflix movies because they're kind of, I don't know, maybe they don't have the restrictions maybe as other studios would put on people.
Yeah, Netflix has deep pockets, so they can pay for whatever they want to make.
Yeah, and I think there may be a little more artistic freedom because Netflix is kind of a little more indie, artsy to begin with.
Yeah, and they're not trying to please like theater like distributors either, so they can do whatever they want to basically.
Yeah, and the owners of Netflix have said like they're going to just produce an insane amount of content. So for artists, especially indie artists, like, that's perfect. That's good.
Yeah,
it's good for you. Like try to get in there and make what you want to make because
well, you can.
They're not going to probably be that restrictive because they want to put out that content.
Right.
So we want to watch it.
Kind of like the early days of cable, back when on Nickelodeon you could have some very violent and very odd cartoons on the air.
Very violent, very odd, very. You go back and watch like Rocko's Modern Life or whatever. Like you just go like, I watched that as a kid. Like, oh my gosh. Ren Stimpy.
Rocko works at a sex hotline.
Yeah, I'm like, how is this allowed? It's any wonder why we grew up the way we did.
Oh, I know.
But even cable today, like if you go through your cable, it's a lot of times it's one show playing all day. Mm-hmm. There's no content on cable. It's you sit back every day. I'll scroll through and I'm like, why am I paying for this?
Right.
But you have no choice because like I like watching sports, and so in order to watch sports, I got to pay for all that crap.
Yep.
So I'm really excited about things like Hulu
and Pluto TV,
Hulu, Netflix. These guys are really changing it. I'm really hoping cable dies soon.
That would be nice.
Can't wait for it to go the way of the dinosaur.
Well, we should probably go ahead and wrap up. I think we're at the hour 3 mark here, and we're probably running out of battery.
So yeah, absolutely. All in all, I think Ad Astra, we're going to go back to that. I give it 2 thumbs up.
Yeah.
Visually appealing, great plot, great writing, great acting, all around good movie. If you're going to pay to go see a movie, I think Ad Astra's the movie.
I'd agree. Yeah. So, So guys, make sure that if you're watching us, hit the subscribe button below, and please follow us on social media. We have Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We're at JD Movie Kings, and also like we're on Google Podcasts right now. We are on I'm trying to think what else.
We're on everything.
We're almost to Apple Podcasts. We're working on it, so maybe by the time this airs, we'll be on there. But just keep listening to us, guys. Oh, we're on Spotify too. So
Spotify.
Keep following us, listening to us, doing all that crap, and we will see you guys next time.
Yeah, and if you've seen Ad Astra, drop a comment and let us know what you thought of it. Mm-hmm. We'd like to hear what you have to say.
Absolutely. So,
all right, we'll see you next time.
See you guys later. Bye.
Bye-bye.